Hello and welcome to the Flix Forum podcast, where each episode we go back and we look at a Netflix original film in the order of release. Today we have Netflix's 403rd film from 2021. It's the Indonesian romantic comedy called A Perfect Fit. This one is directed by Hadrah Daeng Ratu, and it stars Nadya Arina, Refal, Hady, and Giorgino Abraham. I am Jesse. I am your host. Thank you for joining me today for this Netflix original film. As always, if this is a film that you haven't seen and you're interested in checking it out, A Perfect Fit, then give us a pause and come back a little bit later on, because I'm going to spoil this film as we go. So we do start the show with the Fast Flicks, which is a quick little summary of what the film is all about. So this one is a modern day Cinderella-like story. Boy meets girl, fall in love for each other, but there's obstacles and shoes in the way. I'm really going to struggle with this one. Please, if you don't want... I'm going to spoil this early. If you don't want to hear me be negative, then go away now. This is going to be a very negative episode. This film, it did hit Netflix on the 15th of July, 2021. The Perfect Fit, as you can probably tell from my Fast Flicks, it's to do with like shoes and Cinderella and things like that. So around the world, in Spanish, it's called The Perfect Pair. I like that. That's much better because it not only talks about shoes, but also the couple. So that's good. In German, it's called Fits Perfectly. Meh. In French, it's called On the Wrong Foot. Yeah, nah. Croatian, it's called A Dream Couple. Sure. I don't know if that's... Yep, sure. Okay, Greek, it's called I'm Doing Great. Nice. Thanks for letting us know. Chinese, it's called Fits the Heart. Sure. In Hungarian, it's called As If It Had Been Poured On. Not sure what happened there in the translation. In Russian, it's called Perfect Couple. And in Vietnamese, it's called Measure and Fit Shoes. Yes, that's what the guy does. He measures and fits shoes. This film, it's set in Indonesia. It's set in Bali. There's a nice little story in there about Charlie Chaplin and him visiting Bali. And this did happen in 1932. This is real. So this was a nice little segue in the film that sort of gave the audience a little bit of insight into Charlie Chaplin's connection to Indonesia and Bali. This was filmed in Bali, and it did have 6 nominations across like things like costume design, direction, editing, etc. At some Indonesian film awards too. What are the critics and audiences saying about this film? Rotten Tomatoes, it only has 2 reviews, one fresh, one rotten, so nothing there, nothing from the audience, nothing on Metacritic, not many people have seen this. IMDb has a 5.4 out of 10 on 783 ratings, so you'd say that's okay. Even on Letterboxd, it's got a 2.7 out of 5 on 1,800 reviews, and it's been logged by nearly 2,500 people. So a few people, and I'd say that those results from the audience is okay. So what are my early thoughts? I already gave this away, but craft-wise, it's okay. It's well shot. It's well put together. There's some nice scenes. However, the dialogue, the screenplay, it's horrendous. You know where this film will end within the first few minutes of the film. There's no surprise where you go or how you get there, and that's what frustrated me the most with this film, I think. So let's talk about the characters. The main character in this film is Saskia. She is a fashion blogger who's set up ready to marry this guy called Denny. And this partnership or this relationship is important to both families and herself, because this will allow her ill mother to continue treatment through the money from Denny. He's rich, his family's rich, and it's going to allow her to set up her own boutique because of his wealth. But she doesn't really love him. Her parents are both people of scripture, so they're very much about following tradition and culture and things like that. And then that's where she sort of comes across this guy called Rio, this meet cute. Rio's this good-looking guy who's setting up his own shoe business. He likes to design them. He likes to keep the craft going. He likes to respect people, keep it a part of culture. And it's like a boutique-y shoe shop. And this is where they come across each other and sort of fall for each other. But obviously, there's going to be some things in the way. So I did mention before, Denny, this is that guy that Saskia is set up to marry. He's arrogant, he's aggressive, he's rude, he's obnoxious. He's the son of this wealthy family. The family gift him a hotel. They have pressure on him to marry Saskia, create this family venture, all this sort of stuff. He's got a younger brother. He's not a nice guy. This is one of the worst characters you'll ever see on screen, and they don't even make any excuses for it. He's just a horrible person. And then the other person that turns into this situation is Tiara. So Tiara is this girl who's set up with Rio by her mother and his mother, and this creates an issue for him when he's trying to chase Saskia. This Tiara chick, she's smart, she's intelligent, she's got a degree, she's got a big shoe business. So this arrangement for the two of them to get together is perfect, but She's the opposite of Rio almost. She's ruthless in business. She's outsourcing. She's firing locals. She's not very nice. So there's never going to work between him and her. He's never going to have the feelings for her as well. The only other character is, I think it was Andra or Audra, I'm not sure, but this is Saskia's best friend, and she seems to be everywhere. She's just in the background and helping things progress along. She sings in a band at the coffee shop that Saskia and Rio keep going to, so that's super convenient for montages throughout the film. The director, Hadrah Daeng Ratu, she's got 27 directing credits, all in Indonesian, so she's been given many opportunities with the camera and seems to know what she's doing. I don't have any issue with how this film was put together like that. It's more the narrative. So let's get into the narrative. Let's talk about some scenes that worked. What are some scenes that didn't work? Things that worked. Like, there's a moment where Rio thanks... So she throws a shoe at him. I think it was a shoe. Then he passes out. She puts him in a taxi to get him to the hospital. And she gives him mouth to mouth. And he thanks her for it because he said if the taxi driver had done it, he would have died. I just laughed at how stupid that was. So that wasn't bad. Denny, this bad guy, he questions Saskia about how many guys that she slept with. And she says in reply, I'll give you a list if you want. And then walks off on him. I was like, oh, nice drop moment. That was good. And my favourite moment in this film is at the end, Denny's dad stands up to Denny and pretty much tells him that I didn't raise you like this. The wedding's off. I'm not going to let someone like Saskia marry someone like you. I was like, well, that was bloody great. Good dad. Well done. Nice. I enjoyed that. I thought that was a good moment. Apart from that, there's some things that didn't work. Here we go. Let's get into Jesse's rant. The start of the film, there's this fortune teller that just happens to be at this fashion show that Saskia is covering for her blog. And then pulls out a deck of cards, does the whole thing, and then one of the things behind the card that Saskia pulls, she needs a leaf, and she just happened to have a leaf ready to go for Saskia. I just thought that was super convenient. The first meet cute between Saskia and Rio. And it's about him thinking that the shoes don't suit her that she's trying on because he can tell what a person is like by their shoes. That was laughable. And then he picks a pair and gives them to her and says, this matches your personality. This is the first time they've met. He doesn't know her yet. He has no idea what her personality is like. If he meant looks, maybe, but personality-wise, that was really not great. Saskia goes back to the shoe shop because she'd been given the wrong shoes. She falls in paint. Her clothes are ruined. She's in a rush because she's got to be at her boyfriend Denny's party. And Denny's like calling her, trying to work out where she is. Why is she late? And she doesn't answer the phone properly, but it goes onto speakerphone. And it's obviously Rio's trying to help her clean up, and he's offering her shirt for her to wear. And then at the party, Denny's listening to this and thinks that she's with this guy, so he throws his phone across this nightclub where he's having a party. That was laughable. And then she arrives at this party to wish him a happy birthday, and he full confronts her in front of everyone about the guy on the phone, and he says to her, shut up, you witch. And then he throws his shoe at the DJ. And then he tells like his little minion guys to go get his shoes. It was just a laughable commotion of a scene, of a sequence. Saskia and Rio, they're at the beach, and they're talking about surf and then all of these like corny lines of falling and picking yourself up and big waves coming to the shore and learning to ride waves to see the beauty of life. It was just gross and just a pointless scene. Saskia's mum, she apologizes to her for Denny's outburst. So Denny's obviously told her mum that he had a go at her. And then they go to the opening of Rio's... The outburst was at the opening of Rio's shoe shop, and then the mum's obviously sick and unwell, and that's why they need Denny to pay for her medication and her hospitalization, and the acting's really poor of her being in pain. And then Saskia just sort of out of nowhere is like, you've got to avoid stress, you need to calm down. She's not, she's just literally crumpling in pain. She's in pain and she looks super calm. And then the dad comes in and does some yoga stuff with the mum to try and release the pain. And then the camera sort of pans around to Saskia on the other side of the wall, on the floor, being sad. It just took away from any feeling you were meant to have to empathize with the mother's pain. Then Tiara, this is the scene, Tiara rocks up to Rio's shoe shop. It's been arranged by her mother and his mother. And then she just all straight up gets up in his grill, almost being like over the top, like selling herself to him. And the mothers are just up on the balcony watching. It was so bad. She was throwing herself at him. So bad. Denny's henchmen, after they bait Rio up, he says to Saskia that Denny's men can break my bones, but not my heart for you. Oh, what a sweet line. Rio's big big ladybird rant. So he takes Saskia out to the middle of the jungle. It's raining. They're under a tree. There's a ladybird on her. He goes on this big rant about how beautiful her neck is and how the 5 dots on the ladybird mean that she's going to have 5 children. And it's too bad that he doesn't have a golden umbrella for her because she's a princess. And he's like, is this a fairy tale or is it reality? It was so bad. It was so cringeworthy. That Tiara organizes a surprise party for Rio, where she pulls out a ring for him to propose to her in front of this big crowd. It was so awkward. Denny, he organizes for an intimacy expert, and this is when he's a poor character, really mean guy. And then he threatens Saskia, saying that the intimacy expert is for their wedding night to make sure that she still bleeds, and if she isn't a virgin, he can return her. How horrible, and how horrible to even put that in the film. Saskia takes Denny to this village to get the wedding shoes. This is the village that Rio had taken her, the same place earlier in the film. And when they get to this shoemaker, Rio's there with Tiara getting their wedding shoes too. And there just happens to be these drums that start signaling that there's a mud wrestling competition starting. So all of a sudden, Denny and Rio have got their shirts off and go for it in this mud wrestling competition. I was like, wow. Then the fortune teller rocks up again randomly just to give Saskia a goose feather this time and says that it will lead her to a place of great happiness. And then actually, in the film, she throws the feather at the end to find her happiness. I don't know. It was just too corny. Saskia, she's at the beach. She's sort of told Denny it's over. You're a horrible human being. And then this song montage, including her mother, talking to her about how she needs to progress in life, using shallots to protect herself, this sort of stuff, and the mum singing. It was just bad. And finally, Saskia hears Rio. Not Saskia, not Saskia, it's the other chick, Tiara. Tiara hears Rio tell the shoemaker man that he doesn't love her, and that's it. She just storms off. Man. Anyway, that's it. That's my rant. The themes, the ideas. I think it does a good job highlighting the family systems in Indonesia, I guess, and the class and upping your class through marriage too, and the gender roles and cultural traditions that all form part of who the characters are. Again, this happens sometimes with international films. It feels so different and so wrong with some of the ways that cultural norms are seen in films too. The way that the men act in this film, to me, is just horrible. There's a big play on that idea of being able to choose your own partner in life. I think that's an important thing, and pushing against that idea of arranged marriages and not accepting domestic violence and horrible men in your life. There's a lot about this idea of fate and breaking bad luck and following traditions and following your heart and following your feet and those sorts of things. And the importance of happiness too. You can't be happy if you're with someone that you don't like. So I think that's important too. What did I take away from this film? What else? I think watching this film, it sort of made me, at times I was watching this going, wow, life is short. And it wasn't in a good way. It was in a way I was contemplating if I need to change the structure of this podcast, because I'm not too sure I can do many more of these types of international films. It's a slog. It's a slog, but hopefully you're enjoying listening to me lose the plot. Some questions, some pondering, some thoughts to finish this episode off. I didn't put this in the scenes, but this film is obviously, the title's about the perfect fit. It's about a shoemaker. It's about a shoe shop. There are so many shoe references. Every single shoe foot reference about stepping in front, your feet will lead you. The right shoes give you the right balance. Every step becomes easy. You're always a step ahead. The soul/soul references. Choosing a partner is like picking shoes. All woeful, all horrible. And that whole Cinderella connection, please, I don't know, it just was too much. And then the name of the shoe shop too, it was called Shoes with Love, laughable. But I did like there were bits and pieces of Balinese culture, the rituals, the cleansings, the blessings, the offerings. They're all done well, and the costumes and the cultural outfits, they're all really nice to see as well. This is just a technical side of things. I think it was about 34 and a half minutes into the film. I had to pause it because the audio track went from stereo to a couple of seconds of mono. It was so weird. It literally, the sound just cut. That's so poor, Netflix. Where's the quality control? Where's the checking? Where's the going back and fixing this? I'm sure, there are so many. This has been nominated for awards. Yeah, is this just the video file that's on Netflix that's really poor? Because that needs to be fixed. It's not acceptable, to be honest. And the last thing, Saskia, she cracks it at Denny for being in a hotel room with women. This is that big moment where they break up finally. And I mean, he's been having a go at her throughout the film because she was pretty much doing the same thing with Rio, really. She's kissed him. She's gone off on these dates with him. It just felt a little bit weird that everyone as an audience is supposed to be on board with her. Yes, he's a horrible... She should have got rid of him ages ago because he's a bad guy, but she was kind of doing the same stuff too, so it just felt a bit weird. Anyway, let's wrap this film up. We give the film a rating out of 5. As I've said, I really struggled with this. This was a struggle. And that main thing of ramming the almost one-liner Confucius quotes about shoes and life, it just was lame and just not the type of film for me. I apologize if you do like this film. It was also predictable. You could say, you knew from the start that the two were going to end up together. There was no question about it. It was just about how they were going to get there. And even it wasn't that intriguing along the way either. So it just doesn't work. This is a 1 out of 5 from me. Very ordinary score. Apologies. I know, like I said, it looked good. It was put together well. It's just the story. The narrative didn't work. We're on socials. We have Instagram, we have Facebook, and we have X, formerly known as Twitter. Jump on, give us a follow, give us a like if you can. The question I wanted to ask for this episode is the idea of shoes. Do shoes play a big part in your life? I know there are people that are obsessed with checking out when the latest Nike shoes come out, or tracking the shoes that their favorite sports players wear, or people that have cupboards and cupboards worth of shoes for different outfits and things like that. For me, I don't really care. Like, I'll wear a pair out and then try and find another pair. I'm not a big fan of shoes. But what's the enticement of shoes? Let me know if you're a shoe fan in the comments of the episode. Other than that, we're back next week. Next week, we have another international film. This one's from 2021. It's the Thai mystery thriller called Deep. This one is directed by a team of students from the University of Bangkok, and it stars an ensemble cast. So this is a little bit different. This is a bit outside the box. I'm excited. I hope you are too. Other than that, we will see you next week.